it's Gamer Ahmer here. So today I wanted to go ahead and give a quick little update on the game room. So before I go ahead and start filming my 2020 game room tour, I just wanted to go ahead and talk about the moving process, a couple more things that have been nightmares while moving. So let's go ahead and check it out. So first of all, you'll notice that I actually have this Nintendo Switch Kiosk downstairs in the game room in the basement. Now, this was up in the garage, which actually, when I first picked it up from GameStop, I had that whole nightmare of moving it in my vehicle. It barely fit. I had to drive with the steering wheel pressed up against me. It's a little bit dangerous, but I got this baby down the basement. So this thing is very heavy. Now, I actually called around for a couple moving companies, and they are so outrageous with trying to move heavy objects. Now, this would have cost about $400 because they have to factor in travel time, how much time it would take to actually move this down the basement, and just factor in a bunch of other things. So I thought I could go ahead and move this thing down the basement myself. Now this thing is at least a few hundred pounds. So the way my basement works is I actually had to take it out of the garage, bring it around the front, up the steps, which I actually put this thing on a dolly, so that wasn't too difficult, and I had a little bit of help moving it into the house. Then as soon as I got it in the house, up a few steps, I had to kind of maneuver it on the carpet, and I thought I could just slide this thing very slowly down the steps. Well, it was a little bit harder than I expected. So I didn't really have anyone here to help, and I didn't have anyone that I could call other than that moving company that wanted to charge an arm and a leg. I decided that I would just go ahead and slowly kind of lean up against this and just guide it as it went down the steps, because I didn't paint my stairwell yet because of this reason, and I made it down quite a few of the steps. Well, then my basement kind of spins around on the carpet, and there are even more steps to go. So I realized that this thing would be way too heavy to go ahead and move down the steps, and because this thing actually sticks up so tall, it actually got stuck on the ceiling on the way down, because there is a little overhang as you walk down the steps. So then I have to push this thing back up the steps, back onto the little platform up there. I figured, well, if they assembled this thing, I could go ahead and disassemble it. So I took a screwdriver, power drill, and just went to town trying to open up every piece of this Switch kiosk. I actually removed this black plastic piece right here because I didn't want to damage it. Then this top part came off. Well, there are two tall beams in here that actually don't separate from the rest of the base here. So that was the part that was actually hitting on that overhang. So I had to take off this piece as well. And when it was just a little bit of weight, I was able to actually walk it down one by one, each of the steps, and it wasn't too heavy that way. So if I would have waited and found some help, I probably could have got this thing down in just one piece. Well, I had to take apart this kiosk, which was a nightmare in and of itself, and I have quite a few screws that I don't know where they go. So we'll just hope that this thing does not fall apart. So I actually have to get a Samsung television for this. I found out which brand and model television goes in here. I'll probably just use one of my Switches as the demo Switch. Doesn't have too many games on it, so I wanted to actually have this a full playable machine, and I'll have to find a little screen for this. So this was another nightmare that I had, and of course I messed up the stairwell going down, so I had to spackle and slap some paint all on the staircase. So that was just pretty crazy. And because of this situation, I decided that for now, I'm not going to take apart anything else. I'm not going to have any more arcades come down in the basement. So pretty much everything that needs to be down here is down here. There are quite a few arcade machines in the garage, which will now be another game room. So that's a win for me. And I'm pretty excited about that. So there are a couple arcades in the actual arcade area of the basement. There are tons of kiosks down here. I think I'm up to about 14 or so now. So that is definitely pretty exciting, and I am so thrilled about that. And also, I had to go pick up quite a few desks this week, as I needed one for my Nintendo 64 kiosk. Since it was the tabletop version of the kiosk, I needed something that was pretty strong and durable, and something that would lift up the kiosk to make it playable. So I found this really cheap desk on Facebook Marketplace, and it has some storage underneath, so that is perfect. I ended up putting all of my Nintendo 64 drawers in that room. I know that I've had them in this main area for a while, but I didn't like that. So what I've been finding out is that moving and kind of placing things around the game room, I've actually changed things around quite a bit, and I thought I was going to have designated areas for certain systems and games, but I ended up changing up a lot of things. So I'm actually really looking forward to showcasing my whole entire game area in the basement here, as the upstairs in the toy and figure room, that was a little teaser of what this main game room will actually be. So I wanted to show just a couple little updates for you guys and just explain why some of this stuff is actually taking a little bit longer. So this wall right here is probably one of my favorites now in the game room. It seems like every time I finish a section or actually start laying some things out, I grow to love something else. So this wall right here is pretty sweet. We have these two kiosks on here. This one is actually playable. So I have this Wii U system in here, tons of games around, and it just looks really awesome alongside the Nintendo Switch Kiosk, and both of these were actually scored at GameStop. So then on this wall, you'll actually notice that I have tons of games. So in my old place, you'll notice that I didn't have too many racks full of games. I actually had a lot of stacks of games that I couldn't display. They couldn't fit in the collection. So over here, I am so excited that this is mostly PlayStation and Xbox games. So of course we have a little bit of PlayStation 1. We have this huge section of PlayStation 2. It leads into Xbox, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3 games. So this is pretty awesome how I have these box games on top, and of course that PlayStation 2 neon sign. And you'll notice above the Switch Kiosk I did have another neon sign. So this one still actually has a little bit of work. I actually ordered this huge shelving unit off of Amazon, and it was a couple $100. I had to put it all together. Of course, I dropped something behind it, so that was a nightmare, because then I had to actually take everything off of it because it was so heavy, kind of shimmy it out, reach back there with a little grabber, and grab the item that I dropped. So I will not do that anymore, as I was terrified that this whole shelf would come apart, and I had to take even more time putting everything back on here. So now I have to actually go through and alphabetize all of the games. And for the game room tour video, I don't want people commenting, do you even alphabetize your games? So of course I do. It just takes a little bit of time to get everything in place. And if I waited until everything was perfect, I'd probably never have any videos ready. So I just wanted to share this whole little section with you guys, as this is a new section. It looks great. Everything's down here in one piece. Didn't break anything else. So this is definitely pretty exciting, and I can't wait to share the game room tour video with you guys. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.